We just got back from Family Roots Farm out in Chelmsford, and we picked up some wonderful stuff. Some beautiful red and purple peppers. We've also got a couple of gems from their microgreens program. Pea sprouts. Oh yeah. And look at these cute ones. Little radish sprouts. Okay, so my kids, one of their favorite meals, and it takes so much time for me to fuss with and get it to come together. Taco night takes forever. So we're going to try to do something like a taco pie, or I've heard it called a Mexican lasagna. We're going to do a little bit of preparation in advance, and then I'm going to show you all of the different elements as we layer the dish, bake it, and then you'll see the finished product. I've already taken the time to brown some ground beef, which I would typically put into their tacos. This was regular ground beef. I just picked it up over at the grocery store. And then once it's browned, just take it and put it into the colander and let the fat drip off. You can use that to saute vegetables. No need to add additional oils from other sources. I've also got a little bit of a cheater here. I had some tomato meat sauce left over from a batch I made a couple days ago, and so I'm going to use that as the red sauce, and maybe do a little bit of chopped up vegetables into it, sort of make it like a meaty salsa. Some of the stuff I'm doing is going to be shortcut stuff. So I've got some shredded cheese, cheddar, Monterey. I think there's a little bit of pimento jalapeno. We won't tell the kids that. And I'm also going to do a layer of bean in this dish. I use garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. So we're going to drain that, puree it, and use that as a layer inside the lasagna. And then table side, we're going to top that with a chimichurri sauce and a little bit of these wonderful lettuce from Family Roots, and the radish and pea shoots over top as the crisp element. I've also got some cilantro that I'm going to be using. It's going to be great, and it should meet the kids' approval. If I had done this yesterday, I might have roasted the peppers in a 450 oven, turned them over, or you could also do it in the broiler. But look at that purple. That's wild. Interestingly, boom, on the inside they're white. So it's going to be really nice and sweet. So get these in here. So I'm going to cap that. Stir it in about 2 minutes. A little bit more green pepper to add to that. So I'm literally putting this together in front of you, and this is what I'm having for supper. We are going to do a little bit of photography magic, and magically the dish will be done. But we're getting all of these wonderful vegetables softened so that we can put them into layers in a lasagna type dish. I've got the sauce, I've got the beef, I'm doing the peppers now. We're going to be using tortillas as our layers. Square off one end so that you can put it right to the edge. Just like that. This, you're going to want to sauce the bottom, put a layer of the tortilla, and a little bit of sauce, a little bit of meat, cheese, boom, 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 and alternate meat and vegetable. So, a little bit of tomato meat sauce across the bottom of the pan, tortillas. Let's get a layer. Don't need to have lots. Now, I've got these sort of end cut pieces. Don't have that much coverage missing, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a slice into these pieces to fill in the gaps. Close enough, right? So once you get that on, go with your ground beef. We've got 2 layers of protein. We're going to be putting in the chickpeas. Speaking of which, get those smoothly pureed. A little bit of chunks, not a problem. There we go. You can see we got the beef. Let's get that averaged out a little bit better. What I did do is I've got a seasoning that I use when I'm doing things on the smoker, chicken, pork. It's a generic seasoning that I make myself. Cumin, coriander, and a little wee bit of cayenne. Not enough that the kids get upset. What else did I put in there? I put a little wee bit of coriander and dill seed, just to give it a little touch of porchetta type flavoring. That's not going to disagree with what we're doing here today, so I'm going to go ahead and use that throughout. I did put a bit of this into the meat as it was cooking. That's great for the beef. And that's our shredded cheese. So we're going to use probably half of this tiny bag right here, right now, just to have something really hold together those layers. Again, there's really no wizardry or anything going on here. We're just making a layered casserole. And let's get this one here. So this one here, I put 2 of, I don't know whether you've seen it in other videos, I use it regularly. I make this stuff I call salt cured lime. I call it that because that's really all it is. Nothing too special. I take limes, cut them in half again, and then into quarters. I don't know, 8 pieces of lime. Pluck all the seeds out, pack them with sea salt. Leave it on the windowsill 2-3 months. It's kind of like a savory marmalade. It's really salty, so take into account when you're using this type of a condiment that you're going to reduce the amount of salt you use in other places. So I put 1 of those, and I had a little bit of red onion from Lady Raven Meadows. Just chopped that in half, peeled off the outer skin, tossed it in, blitzed that in the food processor with the lime. Nice flavor. And then a little bit more of that same seasoning that I just shook over the meat. And we've got our chickpea puree, or garbanzo bean puree. This was one, I don't remember the size of the can, but just drained off most of what was in there, put it into the food processor, and let it go. So we'll get that a spread around. It's not going to be an overly thick layer, and I am fine with that. I want a couple layers of tortilla in here. And really, you can't go wrong. If you're not that happy with your layers, it doesn't look the way that you had thought it would. I mean, all of this in a bowl as a mess is going to be delicious together anyways, honestly. We also took time to saute some peppers. So that's going to be our next item that we're going to put in there. We'll just put a little sprinkling of this cheese. Get another layer of tortilla. Purple and green peppers. Let's get all of them in there. The saute is not something that you need to do, but it jump starts the process. Gets it to where you're able to be a little further down the line when things go in the oven. Incidentally, I've got the oven preheated at 350 convection. Surprising how they lose their color when you cook these. Doesn't affect the flavor whatsoever. Just something to keep in mind when you get these beautiful purple peppers. Consider doing raw preparations. So there's my peppers layer. And so what I'm going to do now is cut up a little bit of red onion, slices of tomato from Family Roots Farm, Spanish onions and red onions as well there. These didn't come from them, but they've got the same ones available in their CSAs. Beautiful place, wonderful people. They grow 40 varieties there. Can you guys believe that? 40 varieties of vegetable. I'm really impressed with his take on agriculture. So there we go. Got the onions, tomatoes, the peppers. And we'll get that capped off. There we go. This time you got to give it a bit more of a press. Try to get those vegetables to meld together. We had some baby tomatoes left over. Not sure from what. Maybe from the kids' fridge. Anyhow, I threw those in with the meat sauce. I think it's going to make a nice little topping. So, get that over top of everything. Again, ensure that you've got your oven preheated so that you're ready to go once you've got this assembled. You don't need perfect 100% coverage. We're going to call that good. And back to the cheese. So everything that's going in here is cooked except for those vegetables, specifically the tomato and the onion. The peppers are already sauteed. The sauce is already cooked. The meat is already cooked. Want that in the center of your oven, 350 convection. You're going to go at least an hour. Salsa verde will go over top of the dish, and we're going to have a nice little crunchy garnish of some microgreens and a little bit of their wonderful green leaf lettuce. So we're setting up the salsa verde for the finishing sauce. I'm going to take, this is the roasted garlic, roasted tomatillo, and roasted green tomato, and I'm going to add that here. In a salsa verde, which means green salsa, as part of that, when you want to flavor it, you're going to be using items such as, or ingredients such as garlic and onion. So I'm going to add in this Vidalia, some of the cilantro as well. I'm not overly worried about getting it chopped super fine. Just get some of it in there so you taste it. It does I'm using it as a garnish primarily, but it's going to give those characteristic flavors. Also, something I added in to this salsa verde, something green. Shouldn't be much of a surprise. I added some lime, and you could use lime zest and lime juice. I skip all that. I use that cured lime that I make. Love it. And so what we've got here is also our salsa verde. A little bit more crunch, a little bit more herbaceousness from the cilantro. There we go. So that's good. Another thing I like to have for crunch and just the freshness of it is when I serve tacos to the kids, I always have a little wee bit of shredded lettuce. I often use iceberg, but I'll use whatever I have on hand, and I even sneak in cabbage from time to time. Got a little bit more of this Vidalia. I'm going to go a little bit more lengthwise on this one here, but I am going thin. I've got my chopped cilantro, and I'm just going to sort of squeeze through all of the Vidalia, loosen that up, mix it around. I'm sort of making a slaw. Now what I'm going to do is I just got this from the farm, but imagine you pick this up over at the farmer's market. Take off the outer leaves, and I'm going to use this as my shredded lettuce component. So we've got the onion, the cilantro, and then we get in all of the lettuce. That's going to go over top. Just a nice little bunch. Get a nice fresh crunch. It's part of the slaw. A good handful of these pea sprouts. Man, these are beautiful. And these radish sprouts. I'll show you what this turns out like. That's set. Timer says we got another 20 minutes in there. You know it's ready when it smells incredible in your house. And we've got our salsa verde, and then we've got our microgreens with green leaf lettuce, radish sprouts, pea sprouts, and a bit of cilantro and some Vidalia onion. Beautiful crunch and freshness. Metal. Use this instead of a knife to cut into your lasagnas or your casseroles. I don't think you should be using a good knife. If you've got a knife that's worth having, you should try to protect it. Beautiful. Take a look in the pan here. Beautiful color, nice and browned. The peppers, the tomatoes, the onions, the beans, the meat, the tortilla. Everything nice on its own. And then we get to do the finishing moves. So there's the individual piece. And we've got this salsa verde. We're adding another vegetable layer. This is going to be raw vegetables. So again, we've got the green cayenne pepper, we've got the green tomato, and we've got the tomatillos, microgreens, green leaf lettuce, we've got some vidalia, some radish, and pea sprouts. And I'm hearing that these the radish sprouts have a little bit of heat to them. Yeah, a spicy pep to that, and we'll get a little bit of this, I call it thyme bomb, but it's green cherry bomb peppers with lemon thyme and cured lime. I'm pretty happy with that. The kids will approve. And so the nice thing about it is we're able to not have the hot sauce incorporated. The kids will be much happier about that. And I think it's supper time. Cheers.